Good afternoon, everyone. Sarah Manning here with NDN Collective, and we are live on Piscataway lands in so-called Washington, D.C. You can see the Capitol building here behind me. And we're here after our long journey, our caravan from Rapid City, from Oceti Shakoi lands here for the 79th birthday action for our relative Leonard Peltier, who's been wrongfully incarcerated for the past 48 years. Tomorrow is his 79th birthday, and so we're here with a bunch of allies, comrades, friends for this action that we're going to be holding in front of the White House tomorrow, calling upon the Biden administration to free our relative Leonard Peltier. Enough is enough, and it's been too long. And so what's going on right now is a bunch of us are gathering here on the National Mall on Piscataway lands, and we are unfurling this banner that will be a part of our action tomorrow. You could probably hear our president and CEO, Nick Tilson, on the bullhorn right now, talking to a bunch of relatives. You could see a bunch of people behind us who, some were a part of the caravan and some have made their way on their own to be here, to be a part of this call, this joint effort to free our relatives. So we're going to walk over this way and we're going to check out what's going on right now. We have a team of a bunch of folks who are holding this banner and getting ready to unfurl it. This banner was created by our creative resistance team and a number of volunteers in Rapid City over the course of a few different public art builds. And as you can see, this banner is broken up into several different pieces. And I think we've got a good number of folks, maybe like 40 people on both sides of the banner, and unfurling it for the first time here in DC. A lot of work went into creating this banner. A lot of love and a lot of effort to create it, make it, and bring it here. And you'll see this tomorrow unfurl in front of the White House. So what we're doing here today is just gathering in community, preparing for the action, talking about just how to be prepared, how to show up. This is a really big, important moment. And without a doubt, we're definitely a part of this long line of Indigenous people and allies calling for the release of Leonard Peltier over the course of the past 5 decades. So 48 years he's been in there. And so all of us that you see here, we're just a small continuation of the past 48 years of resistance and those calls for the release of our relative Leonard. But we're really honored to be here on Piscataway lands. There are a number of different teams here. There is, you could probably see a lot of the American Indian movement jackets, paying respects to our relatives, veteran AIM members who are part of that era alongside Leonard during the 1970s, during the Red Power movement and the American Indian movement, where our people made a lot of sacrifices and took a lot of stands for our people that we're still able to benefit from today. So a lot of people here from the American Indian movement, various different chapters, members of the Wombly Ska group from Rapid City, a youth group who we work with quite a bit. There's also Amnesty International here. Our friends and partners at Amnesty have been fighting for the release of Leonard Peltier for the past 5 decades. So they're no stranger to this fight. All right. Here's the banner with the AIM song. So much love and respect to all of our relatives who are part of the American Indian movement. Many of us here today actually descend from parents and grandparents who are deeply involved in that movement. There's some AIM babies here, so it feels good to hear that song being sung right now by Wombly Ska and others. I grew up hearing this song in my own family and also grew up hearing it called the Togetherness song. I know that there's a history of this song as well, that I'll be talking to some other folks here on the ground that share a really beautiful history of this song, of that era, honoring one particular man who was alive during that era. So I'll be talking to members of Amnesty International, American Indian Movement, the Red Nation. So who you see there in the center of the banner, connecting these big pieces of the banner, this is our creative resistance team. We'll be talking to them here in a bit too. This is our creative resistance team, connecting the various parts of the banner together. Art definitely being and always being a critical part of the movement. Art, symbolism, the designs, the colors, they all mean something. So this banner will be in front of the White House tomorrow. It says, President Biden, free Peltier now. So a good couple hundred people here right now for this gathering today, and many more will be joining us tomorrow in front of the White House as we call upon President Biden to free Leonard. There will be a whole lineup of speakers tomorrow, including the President of the National Congress of American Indians, Fawn Sharp, Susan Schoen Harjo, a longtime Indigenous matriarch who has done a lot of work for the movement. Dallas Goldtooth will be emceeing the event. We'll also have other spokespersons, including Nick Estes of the Red Nation, NDN Collective President and CEO Nick Tilson, and others. So we hope you could join us on our live stream if you're here in DC on Piscataway lands. Come out and join us. All right, also, if you're joining us and you're wanting to know how you can support and help, if you're not able to be here in person, there's a number of different ways that you can take action. We'll drop those in the comments or the chat from whatever platform you're watching from. We'll drop that in there. There is a petition that you can sign calling for the release of Leonard Peltier, and that petition is being carried by our friends over at Native Organizers Alliance. So please sign the petition. Those petitions are so important, and they're a way for anyone to join in. There's also some phone numbers and addresses we'll drop into the chat as well for you to write letters. Write letters to the White House, to call the White House, even to write letters to Leonard. So we have an address to write letters to Leonard Peltier if you want to reach out to him and give him encouragement. So here we are in the belly of the beast in so-called Washington, D.C., on Indigenous lands, always on Indigenous lands, in Piscataway territory, where Indigenous people once walked freely, roamed freely, many nations across this area, and we always like to come back here and remind these representatives in that building back there, remind this administration that we're still here and we're never going to stop demanding justice and liberation for our people and for the freedom of our relative Leonard Peltier. Just some logistics here. You get to see a bit of background on what it takes to organize. Sometimes people, when from afar, they're watching different actions, maybe on TV or social media, you see protests, and it might not always be understood or known just how much organizing and coordination it takes. These people here are trained and very skilled in what they do, from creative resistance to nonviolent direct action, this messaging and narrative. So this is all very, very coordinated with love and just deep commitment to our people. But if you can't quite see what's going on all around, there's all kinds of people here, various different tribes. There's a lot of youth here and elders. There are some youth that were actually on the caravan and rode all this way. It was really... All right, so what we want to do while we're going through this, briefing on prep for the action, we're going to be talking to some people who are on the caravan, and one of the first people I think we'll talk to is one of our team members. We'll get to them in just a second. But we're going to talk to some people from the Creative Resistance team, the people who coordinated and organized this banner, a dope crew of folks at NDN who have years of experience working for a lot of different other grassroots groups, affinity groups, doing actions across Turtle Island, the so-called U.S. So we'll be talking to some members of the Creative Resistance team and some people on the caravan. But first we'll talk to one of our own team members. All right, so first we're going to talk to our team member, Lorenzo. You guys have probably seen Lorenzo many, many times. Lorenzo also hosts our lives as well, too. But now I get to be the host and interview Lorenzo, my teammate and comrade. So Lorenzo also been a part of this media and storytelling work for a long time. The first time I saw Lorenzo was at Standing Rock, going through the front lines wearing goggles and oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to. So, yeah. Lorenzo will be a part of our storytelling team, but also somebody who's on the caravan that can tell us some about what happened, what it was like. So should we come on this end? Okay. Wow, that's fantastic. All right, Lorenzo. So you were on the caravan.
I was.
Starting at Minneapolis. Yeah. How are you feeling today, and how was the caravan?
I mean, for 100%, like I was like, oh no, a bus ride. It's gonna be really long and but it was pretty amazing. Like the whole way there, you could just feel like the energy building. Everyone was singing. There was a karaoke show that happened, which was very unexpected, and of course, like indigenous folks, like there was just so much humor. Like the whole time it was just laughter and jokes, and then song, and then a lot of sleeping, because it was a long ride. So it was unexpected. As I've been on big long bus rides, I've been on caravans before, but this one felt really powerful, and it felt like we were going to like Free Leonard. Like we're on our way. Everyone felt was on their way, and then the other thing that I thought was really amazing too was how many generations of people were on that bus. There was elders, there was children, there was an infant. There was like an infant on there, so it was like all of these different generations of people, people who had been in the fight since AIM began, to like people who are now part of AIM, who are like youngsters. So it was just incredible.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, speaking of infant, there's an infant here as our one of our team members. Their baby girl, also a part of this too. We're gonna get some photos. So, President Biden, Free Leonard. But no, that was actually really cool. You were mentioning a baby, though, because right behind you was one of the babies, one of our little movement babies.
Yeah, so I would just say, like on the bus, they were just like, I don't even know. I guess the generations of folks, like people teaching each other like history, like the elders teaching the youth history on the ride. And then the song, even the songs that were being taught, it was happening. Like it was just a very powerful, unprecedented experience, I think, for me. Like I jumped on Minneapolis, and it was just like fire. Like everyone was just excited to go. And even though it was a long, like I think that Minneapolis to, like outside of Cleveland, I think we got was like maybe 11 to 12 hours. Everyone was excited, And I was expecting to kind of just be like draggy, but it was just like powerful. You can feel the energies bouncing off each other, and it was just everyone's just happy to be here, and we're excited for tomorrow. And yeah, it's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, I saw some of those stories from on the bus, and what I thought of too was how even though we're gathering for this action that is upsetting, it's a tragedy. It's horrific that our relative was locked away for this long, and that our people overall have suffered so much at the hands of this government, this settler nation who has suppressed our people in just the most heinous ways. But when we come together, people feel good. People feel amazing. We build each other up and get each other ready for these battles. And that's how I was thinking of it, just like seeing all that laughter and happiness and singing, that we always need that to keep us going.
Well, yeah, I think that like for movement people, like we have a responsibility to the past, and so we always we come together a lot of times, and it's due to the undue circumstances that we don't want. I think that everyone has their families, and we want to spend our time with them, but there's also obligations to our people who fought for us in the past, so we can't forget them, and so we have to do these things sometimes, and we do them, but we do it with humor, we do it with power, we do it with love, and like even though of course we're here because someone's been unjustly incarcerated for so long, Leonard Peltier, we're still doing it with love, and we're still doing it empowering each other, and we're still doing it teaching each other, knowing that in the future we're going to have to, until we're all free, we're going to have to keep doing this. And even right now we have relatives that are being locked up today doing these fights for our people and for the land, and so it's our responsibility, I think, to remember that the past, what it did for us, and then those are locked away. We're not going to forget them. And there's people here who have been doing this for 40-some years, who have been fighting for him for 40 years, saying, don't forget Leonard Peltier. And so we're here again for Leonard Peltier. It's a whole new generation. People who weren't even alive when all this went down are here. But we know that we got to stand together, and we can't forget the past as we move towards the future. And just really glad to have been on this caravan, and I'm just so excited for tomorrow and to keep this fight going, and also excited to return home to my family and talk about what happened and keep doing this work of just empowering each other for the next day,
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Zoe, and we'll be talking more with Zoe tomorrow. Zoe will be a part of our live stream team hosting the actions as they unfold. So more from Zoe. Both Zoe and I will be hosting our live stream that is streamed to Facebook, YouTube, and X, formerly known as Twitter. And then we have a couple more of our team members who are streaming on a couple of our other platforms. We'll have Brandy Calabaza on TikTok, and Brandy Calabaza is actually live on TikTok right now. So if you want to check us out on TikTok and check out Brandy, check us out there. Also, Alan, another one of our team members, Alan, will be live on Instagram. So you can follow us on any one of those platforms for today's event and then also for tomorrow's action as well. All right, so we're taking really good care of this banner. We want to fold it up and get it nice and ready for tomorrow. And so, as we were saying earlier, there's really a lot of skill and strategy on how to do just that. So even every single way that they're holding the banner very methodically, folding it very methodically, will allow us to do that action tomorrow really seamlessly. All right, so we're going to make our way through and talk to a couple more people. We have some more.
All right, right now it's Lorenzo, Serna. I'm on the mic. We are looking at this beautiful banner, all of these beautiful people, and we're just going to hold this for a bit for you all, and we're going to hopefully get a few conversations with different people who came. I realized I was on the Caravan, so I was like, I guess people want to know. I was like, on the Caravan, you can talk to me, so that's why Sarah was interviewing me again. I'm Lorenzo Serna. I'm the Director of Tactical Media. My pronouns are they, them, and we're here to free Leonard Peltier all day, every day. There's a lot of intention. You can see the Capitol in the background, now fenced off, if you know a little bit of the history of what's going on in the United States of America. And tomorrow we'll be in front of the White House. So if you are wondering what you're doing, you're in D.C., you're not sure what you're doing tomorrow, you're probably coming to the White House with us. You're probably going to march with us. You're probably going to sing with us. So let's get yourself ready, get them good shoes on. It's going to be hot. Bring some water, make sure you got maybe some shorts. Just be aware it's going to be a pretty hot day tomorrow. So we want to make sure everyone's taking care of themselves, and we got to prepare in that way too. So, and bring a friend, It's always good if you're going to come to an action, to come with somebody, let people know you're coming, let folks know, if you think it might get a little squirrely, make sure you got someone to water your plants, make sure you got someone to take care of the animals, you got appointments in the future, there's a lot of things can happen if it goes that way, but I think it's going to be pretty chill. Again, we're showing the banner now. This is the unveil, and this is what we're going to be putting down tomorrow in front of the White House to let Biden know that it's time. It's time. And there was a beautiful article today too in the Washington Post with this cover. It said "Free Leonard Peltier" with I think a quote from Fawn Sharp, who will be speaking tomorrow. Let me see if I can go to the speaker list, and I'll let you watch for a second. All right, so I'm just going to... So tomorrow at 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be at the White House near Lafayette Square. The event's going to be emceed by Dallas Goldtooth, organizer, actor, and writer. Representative Raul Giralva from Arizona will be there. Fawn Sharp, the president of the National Congress of the American Indian, NCAI, will be there speaking. Susan Schoenharjo, the president of Medal of Freedom recipient. Nick Tilson, who's speaking right now on that bullhorn. I think you've probably met him. Kevin H. Sharp, the former federal judge and counsel to Leonard Peltier. And Nick Estes, a current UMN professor and part of the Red Nation, will be there. And again, this is co-hosted by NDN in big collaboration with the Amnesty International. Much thanks to them. And if you have more, want more information, you can email us at actions@ndncollective.org. That's actions@ndncollective.org. And again, if you're at home and you wish you were here, or you're like, dang, I can't be there. I wanted to be there. I want to be on the front lines. It's like, we need your help. If you're at home, we need your help. You can email the White House. I think those calls to actions are right there. You can go into the description, open that See More context. You never do it. I never do it, but I'm asking you to do it right now. Click See More. And there's a lot of things you can do at home. You can call the White House. You can search out, find your rep exactly. There's a tool there, so you can call them. And just whatever pressure we can do, right now is the time to do it. And so, again, you're going to be helping us. We're going to be in all this together. We're going to hold that space and ceremony and prayer tomorrow, and that's going to be with you too at home. So I'm just really thankful you're watching and sharing and been commenting, and I'm hoping you've felt like you're part of this journey here, because I think that's really what we're always trying to do is include those who can't make it for whatever reason, whatever accessibility things that you need, and we're always working on it to try to make things accessible for folks who can't make it. And I understand too that life is life and it's happening for everyone. So wherever you're at, whatever you do, that's enough. Just do something, whatever it is, it's enough. And I'm thankful. You want? Sure. I just walked up. I think we're gonna stroll over to do some interviews. You want to take an interview, Nick? Sure. Yeah. Over there. We'll go take some. All right. We're gonna. I'll come along.
All right. So tag team in with the relative Zoe on the live stream. This is Sarah again. And we can keep getting some nice shots of that beautiful banner. All the people here. I was just talking to one of the speakers tomorrow, so we'll be talking to them here in a moment. But look, I can't, not quite sure how many people are here just on the banner itself, but it's really pretty cool to think about the number of people who it really takes to pull off an action like this. From the design of it to the strategizing of the messaging, thinking about who the target is, what do we want to say to them, what's going to be compelling, what's going to move them. It really is very much an art and a skill. And then all the people who brought the banner here, all of the people who made it happen, all the people whose hands are on the banner right now too. You want that in background?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. All right, so we found our brother Nick Estes. Okay, so we're here with our relative Nick Estes, this really tall, cool Wichasha Lakota who's lowering himself to be. So Nick is going to be one of the speakers tomorrow, and Nick is a Lakota historian, a really fantastic speaker, a political thought leader, and a powerful Indigenous thought leader, and also a member of the Red Nation, a founding member of the Red Nation. So I wanted to visit with Nick, and I know that there's a number of you all here from the Red Nation. So Nick, can you start by telling us why this is important to you all as the Red Nation to be here for?
Yeah, so back in 2013, when the Leonard Peltier Defense Committee was headquartered in Albuquerque, there was they created a nonprofit with the expectation that he was going to be released and basically to take over and help run a community nonprofit. But as you know, that was like 10 years ago, and so we got involved in this campaign 10 years ago. And we're really, adamant about him getting not only clemency, but also just educating young people, because we saw like a generation sort of removed or missing from the narrative and like actually understanding the implications of his case. So we got involved in Albuquerque 2013.
Yeah, and you also, your crew, the Red Nation, you have a podcast and you've had a number of episodes on this fight to free Leonard Peltier. So given that we've all not heard all of your many episodes on this, like what are the big important things to know about this 48-year-long fight?
I think the first thing to know is that he was wrongfully convicted. The charges were, the conviction was based on coerced witness testimony, things that wouldn't even stand up by today's standards in the so-called like legal system, but shouldn't have stood up in yesterday's standards when he was convicted. There was a juror that openly admitted to the court that she was prejudiced against Native Americans, but still convicted this man of 2 consecutive life sentences. His co-defendants were found not guilty by reason of self-defense, given the conditions on the reservation at the time during the so-called reign of terror and the violence. And so he was originally convicted of murder, of killing these two agents, but then it was later changed and, appealed to aiding and abetting. So he was one of the prosecutors was asked, aiding and abetting who? And he said perhaps himself, because you can't aid and abet people who are engaged in an act of self-defense, because that's not a crime. So that's the original kind of contention. The second one is that the FBI has a FBI family vendetta, and those are the words of a retired FBI agent. Chris Wray, the current director of the FBI, actually invoked the name the FBI when talking, or the FBI family when talking about Leonard Peltier's case, which has a kind of like mob mentality or a mafia mentality, saying that the FBI family has this, outstanding vendetta against this, this individual who killed two of their agents, and really kind of mucking up the inner workings of the case, and the fact that, even the FBI's own agents have killed people and have been convicted of murder and haven't even served the same amount of time that Leonard Peltier has served in prison, and they have actively undermined his clemency and his freedom. And so that's why we're here almost 5 decades later saying the exact same thing people were saying in 1977, the 1980s, the 1990s, the early 2000s, the 2010s, and now we're in the third decade of this century, and we're saying the exact same thing that generations have said before us. And it doesn't, just because he's been in prison that long doesn't mean that he's that much more guilty. It just means that this system is that much more corrupt for keeping him in there that long.
Yeah, you summarized that really well. And I think a lot of people, we were talking about this on an earlier live stream, that a lot of people think he's in there for the actual murder. They're not even real clear on the charges. And to think of an aiding and abetting charge having you in prison for that long, 48 years, and then also to your point about aiding and abetting who, considering that the other co-defendants were let off. Another thing that I was hoping you could share a bit more on too, I know that the Red Nation has covered a lot of the history of the Red Power movement, and you yourself being an author of some books on the Red Power movement. The name of the book is escaping me. It is Our History is the Future. Our History is the Future on the Red Power movement. Nick, considering that, we got a number of different members of the American Indian movement here, we heard the AIM song, you and the Red Nation have told some really important history of that song. Can you tell us about that history?
So I think the common understanding of that song it was originally called the Raymond Yellow Thunder song, because it was sung after the murder of Raymond Yellow Thunder by white vigilantes in Gordon, Nebraska in 1972. The American Indian movement came in and protested against the sort of soft charges, the border town justice, basically, that these individuals had carried out. And so after he was murdered, they needed a new song, and so there's several stories. Some say that it originated in Ojibwe country. Others say, like Siebert Youngbert says, that it was just a song that they would sometimes sing at funerals. But nonetheless, it became the Raymond Yellow Thunder song after that, and thus it became the anthem, or what the American Indian movement calls the national anthem of American Indian people here in North America.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I grew up hearing that song, and my family simply called it like the togetherness song, and we knew it was the AIM song too, but I think whenever we were gathering and they wanted to bring that feeling of togetherness in these spaces, that's what they would sing, and it would just lift us up. So but that history is really important to know, and I'm glad that you all are continuing to share that, and it's really important because it's really fitting for what we're still here fighting for today for Leonard. So we'll be talking with you more tomorrow. You'll be one of the speakers. What are you looking forward to tomorrow, and what are your hopes for this particular moment in time, considering we've been fighting for Leonard Peltier's freedom for 48 years?
I mean, obviously, I'm hoping that this results in his freedom, but I think more importantly, if you look around, there's just a lot of young people. And 10 years ago, this is not what this movement looked like. So to me, that's already a victory in and of itself, is that there's so many young people who care about their elder in prison. And it's not just about the imprisonment of Leonard Peltier, it's about the imprisonment of all Native people and the injustices that they face, at the hands of this system that has made us illegal. 100 years before Leonard Peltier was in prison, our ancestors were sitting in jail for practicing their religion, right? So every generation, the United States government creates a new political prisoner out of us. Our generation is the water protector, right? The Walani forest defenders who are getting RICO charges slapped against them for protesting against or for protecting a forest outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and the construction of Cop City. So that's what I think is most important, is that young people are making those connections and seeing it relevant to their own movement here and now, and that's why it's important.
All right, thanks so much, Nick, and we'll see you tomorrow in the Red Nation. All right, take care. All right, okay. My arm was getting tired holding the mic up so high. My arm has never been so tired. No, that was a really good conversation, and I think what Nick made me think of as he was talking about sort of like this history of history of criminalizing our people and taking political prisoners, is having a conversation with another comrade and member of our team, and we were talking about what this court of Indian offenses that used to exist on a lot of Indian reservations, and that court of Indian offenses would actually take Native people who were traditional leaders, spiritual leaders, and imprison them for practicing their culture. On some reservations, wearing a feather in your hair or wearing paint on your face could result in 30 days of imprisonment, your rations being withheld, and you wouldn't be let go until you relayed a conversion experience saying you converted to Christianity. And so that was one example of how our people, our leaders, our spiritual leaders, our traditional leaders were taken as political prisoners, and that power that they held was taken away from their people. And many of them, if they did not relay a conversion experience in the state of South Dakota, they were sent to the insane asylum for Indians. And so the system has changed and evolved, but the attack on our people is still very much real and very, very much the same. And there are still a lot of Native people and organizers and people fighting for justice and equity who continue to be criminalized and tangled up in these systems. What's taking place right now, I think we'll go check it out. Just also important to share that there is a group here from the Pacific Northwest, and they brought with them a totem pole, and bringing it here to DC, and a number of them are singing right now some of their traditional songs. We're going to try to visit with one of the folks who are a part of that crew as well, but in here in solidarity with each other for the various different things that our people are fighting for. So as you can see, like as we were talking to Nick, they rolled up the banner, but we're still gathering here. They're going to feed the people here in the park. So we're getting ready to feed everyone, and in the meantime, just gathering in song and community and prayer and building up that good feeling for tomorrow.
I can take it for a bit too if you want to check in and then come back. What's up? This is Lorenzo. For a second, we're gonna get closer to the singing. I think it might be over. We'll walk you closer to the people. I wonder if we can walk over to the... I'm going to ask him if he'll walk us over to the totem pole. I was just see if he can walk us over to the totem pole and explain it. Yeah? Oh, sorry. Let's go. 1, 3. Can you talk a little bit about what we're going to go see right now as we're heading there?
What's that?
You want to introduce yourself and let us know what we're going to look at?
Yeah, my name is Jules James. Sassias is my native name. I'm from the Lummi Indian Nation. We're northwest corner of Washington State, just north of Seattle by an hour and a half, and just this side of Canada. I'm the head carver of the House of Tears Carvers, and we were asked by Fawn Sharp, President of National Congress of American Indians, to come over here with a totem pole to support the call for clemency for Leonard Peltier. And there's an event tomorrow, September 12th.
Yeah, and so this was this made specifically for this event, or how was this made, I guess?
Okay, here you go, Fred.
You brought it all the way here. Yeah, if you want to just walk us through.
Yeah, on the bottom here we have a green area with some grass designs. That's for the greasy grass. That's otherwise known as Little Bighorn, where Custer went up against the Sioux and the Cheyenne and met his demise, 7th Cavalry. He was trying to invade, help get people into the Black Hills. Okay, so he was violating the treaties with the Sioux nations. Down this one here is a bear with salmon designs. Leonard Peltier, when he was young, had witnessed people like Ramona Bennett and others being attacked by the state officials trying to stop them from exercising their treaty rights. And he promised himself he'd get involved with them, and he ended up in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, and helped with the Seattle chapter of AIM. And, and they helped get Daybreak Star Center, which is was part of originally the land of Fort Lawton. So that occupation worked really well for the United Indians of all tribes in Seattle. The copper on it represents the time when his family went up into Montana and worked the copper mines and encountered so much racism they went home. And so on the lower legs of the bear, there's 3 individual eagle feathers carved. This represents David So Happy and the 3-Feather Society that he created. It was a dancing society. He was an elder traditionalist that both Washington State and Oregon State and the late Senator Slade Gordon were after. And so they amended the Black Bass Lacey Act specifically to go after those fishermen that were selling their salmon in another state. And so they arrested David So Happy and imprisoned him. And when I was carving another pole, I had a dream so I talked to people of Yakima and along the Columbia River, and they identified the dream being saying that remember David So Happy and those elders along the Columbia River. So we put those feathers on there because Leonard was there for the elder fishermen that were being oppressed and beaten by the police forces. And so we have 4 human beings here. On the bottom side here, and on the other side, you'll find 2 larger ones. They got their faces painted white. They're representing the ghost dance of 1890, where the 7th Cavalry went in and killed 300 elders, women, and children, murdered them. Yeah, for what? During a ceremony. Yeah, and so that represents the 1890 Wounded Knee massacre. And then you can see I got what appears to be bullet holes in the knees. That's the Wounded Knee symbol I put in there. And then the individuals in the middle, those represent Wounded Knee 2. And they also have wounded knees on them. And they actually hold eagle's feathers that we haven't put in yet. They're in the van. But that's Wounded Knee too, and we're telling people, there's a reason why Jumping Bull Camp and everything was happening. The FBI and the Goon Squad and the vigilantes and the BIA police, BIA SWAT, they had surrounded Wounded Knee. For what? Why? I mean, they're natives at a sacred site, and so it was a government set up. They're after the uranium at Sheep Mountain. And so we wanted to represent Wounded Knee 1 and Wounded Knee 2. The top is a full moon, and along the sides you'll see the painted red hands for the murdered and missing indigenous women. And then Leonard, while he was in prison, had a vision, and he was seeing an elder, and that elder was dripping blood tears. So we put 4 tears on each one of the ghost dancers. And he said the blue hand of the ghost touched the elder. And so we put that blue hand to celebrate and recognize and honor his vision that he has shared with everybody. And then on the other side, there's 4 more red hands. But in the middle, there's a Native American with his legs crossed, hands on lap, head bowed, and 2 feathers over his forehead with a fire in front. Well, if you look at the moon when it's full, between 9 and midnight, and you look at the dark spots, you'll see that Native American sitting there praying. And so the crater in front of him is the fire. We put a peace pipe on there for the people of the plains, the Sioux and the Cheyenne, and all those that have continued to encounter this massive racism. And Leonard has been imprisoned as an example to all of us. But I'm saying we remember all our heroes too. Geronimo and Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse and Chief Seattle and Chief Joseph. You can go through all of Indian country and find these heroes, and we should think about that. And so we put the Indian and the moon on top. But most of the stuff started in a visionary dream I had in 1978. So I always tell people, you're tied up in my dream whether you like it or not.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all that and explaining it all to me. I didn't. It's overwhelming to kind of hear how much thought went into it. Yeah. And I'm just really thankful to be able to share that with everybody, and it's just amazing. So thank you so much.
This is the regular friendship handshake. Huh? You go like this. That means I back you from my heart to my fist. And it makes the 4 directions, and it's 2 sovereign circles. Neither one dominates the other, and it makes the infinity. And so the kids, young people call it the infinity handshake, and they'll go like this when they know it. Yeah.
Right on. Thank you for that too. Thanks for that teaching. Holy, I want to carry all this knowledge and pass it out. You are holy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you take care.
Yeah. All right. So I just wanted everyone to hear about this totem pole and just all the thought that went into it, all the just history that's just right there. I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm gonna almost cry. Listening to that, but we're just going to move back to the people over here for a second, check in, and I think we're probably going to take the feed down. Again, we just wanted to bring people here, make sure you can witness what we're all part of, you know. And again, I know that people have a lot going on. They couldn't make it, but hopefully this makes you feel like you're close. And then, like I said, I think I said this a million times, but like a movement is the people. And the people are everywhere, and the people aren't always on the front lines. The people aren't always, at the point of, whatever. It's not always like that. A good friend of mine would always say, we can't forget the grandmothers and grandfathers who are praying for us back home, or they're sending us food. A movement is so many different things. And so everything you're doing at home, like I said, if you're doing something that's enough, just do something. Be it talk about this over a dinner table with your friends. But we're going to go listen to some singing, and then we'll probably bring this feed down. And again, thanks for being here with us. right, everybody, I think that is going to be the end of our live. We really appreciate everybody who joined us again. Oh, wait. Never mind. I think it's... Wait, I'm not sure. I just got... The hand signal's happening. I'm not sure what it means. 1 second here. What's up? Okay, we're going to talk to some of the artists really quick. We're over here. Jake, I'm coming to talk to you. Yeah, a piece of pizza. We'll walk slower. Yeah, if you want to come over, maybe like right here. Where should we do this at? Yeah. 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 Okay. And so. All right. There we go. So, do you want to talk about the art, I guess, or what's Your mouth is so full. I'm sorry. I can talk to somebody else.
No, you can go now. Yeah. So the artwork was very intentional. Obviously, there's a lot of coordination, not only with the actual like physical specs of the artwork, the banner, the fabric, but like the meaning and the intention behind the design. And a lot of it's been like evergreen design work that's been used for the campaign over the last few months. So we were just kind of updating things and trying to keep it fresh. And obviously like the color choice, color palette is all related to four-sacred colors. And obviously this whole campaign itself is a idea of restoring the balance of all those colors, the balance of all the fundamentals of what we consider, the corners of our culture, cornerstones. And so emblematic of all of that is like the people coming together, nature coming together, the forces of nature coming together to help us continue in this struggle and this fight to free our brother.
Yeah, and even like deploying that banner, it's like a lot of people coming together.
I mean, I see that like art has the capability of bringing all walks of life to whatever this intention is, whether it's to free our relatives or whether it's to restore the natural environment, whether it's to bring back our culture and our languages and continue our traditions. Art, for me, I've seen has always been the key to creating a hub for those things.
Could you introduce yourself? I don't think I actually.
Yeah, hi, my name is Jake Frawa. I'm from Jemez Pueblo, New Mexico. He, him pronouns, and I'm the Creative Resistance Coordinator.
Yeah, right on. So Creative Resistance, you got the shirt. If you want to learn more about Creative Resistance, it's actually a podcast right now in the NDN Collective. You can check it out. They're talking about the art, why they're doing the art, how they're bringing people together to the art. I just really appreciate you talking to me really quick, and I can let you get back to your pizza. Yeah, much love. We'll talk to you soon. All right, we're going to try to get one more interview, I think, and then we're going to call it. I'll let you eat. We'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, all right. Well, is this? I'll come right back to you. Who am I talking to? Jen. Jen? Okay. Oh, over there at the seat? Welcome. Would you like water? I'm okay. We're going to talk to this person, and actually it's somebody over here, and then we'll take it down. So, Jen. Hello. How's it going? All right, well, let's look this way. We're going to look over at the Free Peltier signs. Again, thanks everybody who's joining us. We are if you're just getting in here, we just unveiled the banner. It's going down in front of the White House tomorrow. It was a beautiful event, actually. Brought a lot of people together. I was on the Caravan, like I said. It's been a massive amount of like good energy, I felt like. Even though it was a long bus ride, which I was really worried was going to be not that way, but it was great. It just felt really good. So much singing, so much story, so much just like passing down knowledge and this giant journey to be here. And now we're going to speak to Jennifer Marley is going to come over here and tell us what's up. Go ahead. Just want to introduce yourself and let us know what brings you out here.
For sure. Hello. Hoaku. My name is Jennifer Marley. I'm from the Pueblo of San Ildefonso, and I am an organizer with the Red Nation. The Red Nation, we're just so honored to be invited by NDN Collective to join y'all for this historic action. And I say it's historic because we know that Leonard Peltier is being considered for clemency, and we're hearing that he's closer than ever and that things are going really well. And so we wanted to be here not only because organizing around Peltier's clemency has been like a very key part of the Red Nation's organizing since our existence, but because of its significance to the Red Power movement overall and to Native liberation movements in general. We know that Leonard Peltier is revered not only here in the Americas, but all over the world, right? And it is September 11th, and I want to remind people that, you know, we can locate the beginning of the quote-unquote war on terror is beginning with the Indian Wars, right? Indians being the original insurgents, and essentially all U.S. foreign policy was built off of the genocidal policies and practices that were first used against Native people here, and they continue to displace people and occupy nations all over the world. And so the International Day of Solidarity with Leonard Peltier is also the International Day of Solidarity with all political prisoners around the world. And I think that's something important to remember on this day. But I'm really looking forward to hitting the streets tomorrow and making sure that our message is heard loud and clear. Free Peltier now. This has been the demand that has been the same for generations, right? And we're not going to stop till he's free. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for talking to us. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I can't think of like any fault. I feel like you covered everything pretty good, you know?
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Okay.
So, thanks.
For sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much for talking to us. We're going to try to talk to one more person. I know that just want to get one more interview, and then we're going to go on. But I think that's true. Like, free them all, you know, free them all, free Peltier. And then it's true that this is, like, ongoing. Like, people, like I said, people who have been trying to free Peltier were on that bus with their children who are now trying to free Peltier. You know, like, it's a generational fight. It's an ongoing fight. And we're going to free them. One more interview, we'll call it. Well, maybe we'll listen to the song. Oh, I didn't know it was a ceremony. Okay. I asked the ceremony. We're walking away. I think. I'll just do it tomorrow. All right. I think we're gonna bring it down. There's a ceremony going on. We didn't know that, so we're walking towards it for a second. But I think I'm gonna close this out. So again, my name is Lorenzo. I'm the director of Tactical Media. My name is still Lorenzo. I'm grabbing my phone and take this down. I'm just really thankful you're here. Yeah, it feels like the precipice of something really important is about to happen. So just thankful for everyone out there. All your prayers, all your ceremonies are all adding up to this moment. We'll see you in the streets tomorrow. And again, just keep following, sharing all those feeds, sharing all those videos we're trying to put out there. Really suggest you comment in them. If you wanted to say where you're watching from, where you're thinking from, what you're feeling, just drop that comment in there. It's going to help us beat that algorithm, which is not on our side. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.